Well, we're here, and yeah, this is another one of those videos where we're now seeing more of this widespread issues and drama and people being very afraid about now even the PlayStation or Xbox potentially being raised in the prices over here with all these ongoing tariffs from all these countries. Now, we made a video on this last night talking about the Switch 2, and if you guys missed it, there was a pre-order freeze. And they had the website up. I had a chance to pre-order myself, but we're now a little bit concerned that there might be some major price changes. Now, I don't think the Switch 2 is probably going to change their prices. I think it might be unlikely for the PS5 and Xbox 2 high level, but a lot of people in the gaming sphere industry and the entire world are pretty worried that if these tariffs are not going to be, well, worked out well, and we're seeing things like China getting 60% tariffs, we are not going to be in a good spot. A lot of people are concerned, a lot of people are worried, and we're going to talk about those worries ourselves because it seems like the PS5 or Xbox or even the Switch 2 is still maybe just a little smidgen bit away from having a chance to have their prices increase. So let's go talk about it. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We're actually going to be doing a fun repo collab with a bunch of people on Twitch later on, so make sure you guys are following over there if you guys have not, or follow the Twitter so you guys know when we go live. Second Twitter, YouTube account down below. Check them on out, and let's dive into the video itself because there is a lot of things to talk about. So first and foremost, we have been seeing a lot of this tariff talk. Will Tariff raise prices for the Xbox and the PS5? Will it go raise the price for the Switch? Why is Nintendo literally canceling all the pre-orders on their website as of right this second? That is actually kind of crazy. But the high level of this, if you guys don't know, a lot of these consoles are, well, primarily assembled in places like China. And there's a lot of basically import tariffs where if they want to import things to America, we are like, hey, we need you guys to pay extra taxes. You need to make sure you're kind of paying your part. And it's just been a very big trade war. That really is probably the best terminology for it. Right now, we're trying to go into, at least in terms of what the government's trying to do, is to make sure we're paying as least amount of possible. And if other countries are basically charging us more, we try to reciprocate them and line on it. Now, I don't want to be too political on this one. You guys just think whatever you guys want. But this is a still valid concern. We talked about this a few months ago when the initial elections are going on, and I'm hoping that this is my wishful thinking, mainly from my stock account and Bitcoin, that this is just a casual's a hard word for it, hoping that this is something that can be resolved relatively quickly. I think the big high picture is that they're trying to have a somehow strong-armed basically tariff push and then just do it all at once, aka why the market's fallen so much, and then as that all happens, then ideally other countries like Canada, Mexico, China, whatever, maybe go hit up the United States and be like, hey, let's just figure this out. Let's maybe lower the tariff rates for everyone and try to strike a deal. But obviously, well, people are worried because no one knows what's going on. And it also is kind of like an overwhelming sense where there is so many different people in so many different countries all at once, where I almost kind of feel, in my personal opinion, just a little bit too much. I understand the high level of the scheme of it, but I just think if you do 50 countries in a row, then you kind of aren't individually being selected, and I don't know, it's a little bit weird. But either way, when they're saying, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it very may well have gotten slightly worse. 2025, recent U.S. trade policies introduced significant tariffs on imports from countries like China and Vietnam, raising concerns about potential price increases for gaming consoles such as the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5. Both consoles are predominantly manufactured in China, and obviously that means that all these tariffs will be rough. That also means things like computers or other chips, etc., is going to make technology more expensive if we do not have any leverage on these tariffs. Saying the Sony's PS5 is primarily assembled in China, and the newly imposed tariffs on Chinese imports could lead to increased production costs for the console. Analysis suggests that these additional costs might be passed on to consumers, resulting in higher retail prices. Some estimates propose that the console's price could increase as much as $200 depending on the model. Granted, that's analyst. Granted, we'll see how long these tariffs go for. Granted, there's a lot of what ifs, and this is not something that would happen overnight. But, oh my lord. So impact on the Series X and S. Similarly, at Microsoft's Xbox Series X and S are also manufactured in China. The tariffs could affect the cost of importing those consoles in the United States, potentially leading to price adjustments. While specific estimates vary, it's plausible that consumers may see price increases as well, and the overall industry itself is very, very scared. Both, as of right now, Sony and Microsoft are aware of these potential impact on tariffs on console pricing, and that's why right now Nintendo did go and pause their console pre-orders. They don't really know. They're not sure if they should be moving consoles now, if it's better for them to wait a month or two, maybe even potentially delay the launch, which I don't think they will. But it's we've probably never seen a console remove their pre-orders at this point, like at least to my knowledge. That is crazy. And they will also probably want to, Sony themselves have said in their intentions to respond flexibly and promptly to changing circumstances to avoid raising prices. However, they acknowledge that tariffs could have a financial impact, suggesting that some costs might become unavoidable. And this is kind of like very all over the place. Like a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of analysts are all saying, yeah, this actually might be a huge price increase, and we don't want that. The Switch itself is already at $450 for the Switch 2. People are not happy. We saw that like PS5 actually have a very, very low price point of like $350, and we were used to it being $500, but it is over time probably better to decrease the price, which allows them also kind of feel like it's weird if the PS5 is cheaper than the Switch, because I feel like I'd probably rather pick a PS5 than a Switch, but that's just me. Get more games, better graphics, better whatever. But either way, this is like a scary situation. Now, this might all completely freeze on over in the next like few weeks or so, or this could be horrible and we all sit here and cry. Ideally, these big businesses and companies and governments will have a chance to work on out and make sure that they can keep things cost effective. But still, this is like a pretty big deal on almost every single console. So like the recent tariff on Chinese imports, it's plausible that the prices of both consoles could increase. Sucks. I mean, a lot of us already have our consoles, which is nice, but still, dang. Both Sony and Microsoft are exploring strategies to mitigate these costs, but the extent to which they can absorb or offset the additional expenses remains uncertain. Consumers should stay informed about these developments as they may influence purchasing decisions in the coming months. And this is why people are they don't like the fact that the Switch 2 might be more expensive. Like, that's not a vibe. I mean, there is a non-zero chance that the PS5, Xbox, or the Switch 2, depending on how long these tariffs go for, could all increase in price. And that is not what I think a lot of people want at all. And a lot of people are getting curious on this too. Like a lot of these people are bringing up these articles. Here's a different one too as well. And well, it just stinks. Like, you can literally see that Nintendo took the first step, and I feel really bad because they just released the Switch 2. This could have been very nice, maybe 2 or 3 days later. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. Look at this. It's not like there is a console factory that is pumping out every piece of a console. Quinn says, all modern consumer electronics, including video game devices, are made with parts from multiple countries of origin. That means that any one final product is likely to be subjected to many of the tariffs yesterday, and they'll all be compounded on top of another, which makes it even worse. So kind of think about the idea of like you have a Taiwanese chip and it goes to China. Then you also then have a China to maybe Canada, then maybe a Canada to America. There's a chance for a lot of import taxes ongoing, whether it's for products, like such as like them developing products or exporting products and they have to get it from like for their country. It's just a lot of potentially bad things on it. And also the profit margins on hardware is very slim. So you don't want to have Xbox or PlayStation selling consoles at a loss. Yeah, they can still make money back from software, Game Pass, PS Plus, but it's one of those things where like, it's just rough. It's a really hard life to live. And obviously they're multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar companies, but still it is crazy because it looks like these tariffs are getting pretty big. Like the China is being hit with a tariff of at least 54%, making products mass-produced in the country, like the PS5, significantly more expensive to import to as well. And once again, these are the same numbers. Some armchair economics on the PS5 subreddit estimate a digital edition could be around $750. PS5 Pro could be around $1,350. Now, I don't think it's going to go that high, but dang, like that just kind of puts the mark of like how much of a push into this. That's crazy. Also, we don't want to remind you guys that Insomniac is actually working on Marvel's Wolverine. Like we saw the leaks and some people were curious if this game was going to get canceled, but apparently we now have a little bit of breath of life over here from Insomniac. That it does seem like Insomniac Games is still working on Wolverine. I thought this game looked kind of good. I'm kind of excited for it. I'm happy we've not really seen much about it, but I'm sure this company is very under wraps, NDA'd, because as you guys remember, there was a huge, massive leak of the game. People had the source files. People were playing the game on PC. So it does kind of make a lot of sense, and I get it. Like, I understand why, but it's good to see that we have a sign of life. We also are seeing a sign of life over here from Marathon. As you guys know, Marathon is Bungie. It's kind of like a looter shooter, escape from Tarkov type style game. This one is dope. Like, this one's going to hopefully be cool. I cannot wait to play this myself. I'm pretty excited for it as well. We also did go and see a cool Mario Kart port for both the PS4 and PS5. It's not downloadable yet, but as we're seeing more emulation stuff and people modding their consoles and all that, we have now been seeing a lot more fun things. And this is one of the part of the fun things out here too as well. So just in case you guys are curious, you guys can probably go play even nicer, better graphics over here for Mario Kart ports too on top of that. Just keep that in mind. And the last but not least is we've kind of been seeing a lot more people kind of curious on all of these price hikes. It also leads to an important point that a lot of people are curious on the PS6. Like many are also looking in the future if these are longer term tariffs and they can't get it sorted, which hopefully they will. Specifically also saying the PlayStation 6, which is bound to cost a lot of money, might even become more money because we're also looking like the Switch 2 as a reference point. And I'm sure if they could have launched that at $500, even with these tariffs, they probably would have. But I'm not really sure still why Nintendo announced that literally like 1 or 2 days right before those big things. Not really exactly sure why, but either way, not good news. We'll see, I guess, what happens throughout these next few weeks, few months. Ideally good, mostly for my stock accounts, but also for tariffs, investments, and all that. And I just want to say I appreciate you all so much for watching. In the first place, subscribe here, the YouTube account, the Twitters and Twitches down below. Hang out in the Repo collab later on. And I appreciate you all so much for watching in the first place.